Hello there, in today's video I want to give you a photography hack. It's not going to be easy though, in fact it could be really hard, but it's undoubtedly the single biggest thing that has improved my photography over the last 10 years. In order to get there though, I think we should frame the conversation with a question. Is there anything left to talk about in photography? Before we get into that though, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you need a domain name, a website, or an online store, then make your next move with Squarespace. About a month ago, I hit the point where I've been talking about photography on YouTube for 4 years, and a question I often get asked is, where do I come up with new ideas to keep things fresh and original? And a very simple answer to that is I get inspired by you and the interaction that we have and some of the comments that you leave. But I understand where that question is coming from. I've got to be honest, in that I find a conversation about photography can very easily become boring. All too often the discussion will turn to camera brands and lenses and shooting locations and things like that. Now I'm as guilty as anyone of this, but over the last year or so I've been trying to reframe the conversation away from the more technical aspects of photography to the more artistic. And it's not been easy. If we do a quick search for photography on YouTube, every single week there seems to be a new video rehashing the same old tutorials. Now I've done that in the past, but these days I find that just kills my inspiration when I'm looking for something a bit deeper and more meaningful. It's a big part of the reason why I moved my purely educational how-to videos off YouTube onto my own platform. If you think I'm the best guy to teach you photography, all those things are there in the roaring for you. But for my YouTube videos, I want to try and do something more original and varied. So how do we apply that philosophy to photography? How do we keep the conversation fresh? How do we continue to produce original and interesting work in a world where everybody is now a photographer? It's a deeply held belief of mine that life and photography are intrinsically linked. Allowing our life experience to flow into our artwork will undoubtedly make us better photographers and give us a deeper connection to the work that we are creating. I see street photographers doing this all the time as they think really carefully about the story they're trying to tell. They use shape and light and great timing to get a person in exactly the right position in the frame. Landscape photographers often find this very difficult because by nature we are very technical and practical and precise and very logical. Now this serves the landscape photographer very well because there's a lot that goes into the planning of a landscape photograph and all those things really help with that. But getting in touch with our emotional side can often seem scary and definitely more difficult. Very recently I started to share some of my experiences that have shaped my life and now affect my work. I'm not always exactly sure how it's guiding me, but I know that it is. I'm talking about things like when I used to be a police officer and some of the crazy stuff I've seen, like the aftermath of terrorist incidents or terrible car crashes or tragic domestic situations and child murders even. I was also attacked with a knife on 3 separate occasions, which was always interesting, but there were also some amazing moments like the London Olympics and many funny moments. These formative experiences have shaped my life philosophy and now affect my photography as well, whether that's conscious or not. The point is though, is to try and make it conscious, because the key to all of this and to becoming a better photographer is communication. How are we going to communicate our story? Because it's your story that makes you unique, that makes your images unique and keeps the conversation about photography interesting. It's that I want to hear about and to see. Communication is everything to us as humans. If you look back at some of the most successful people through history, they've all been incredible communicators. Now, the great thing about communication is there's just so many different ways to do it. So for example, take a musician who can write a melody that can make us laugh or cry, a sculpture artist who can captivate our attention with this object for days, a comedian who can make us laugh so hard that it hurts, a movie or a work of literature that can transport us to another world, or a photograph, a great photograph that's worth 1,000 words. As photographers, it's important to remember that what we're doing is so much more than just going out and taking a pretty picture. We are communicators. We are telling a story or conveying an idea to the viewer that will hopefully leave a lasting impression. Think about any of your favourite photographs from history and they will all definitely do this. Now, storytelling with photography is a lot easier if you have people in the frame. So for nature photographers, it can be a little more complicated and more difficult, but this is where words can help. Now, I think an image should be able to stand alone, but like with any artwork, getting an understanding of the backstory can provide context and enhance the enjoyment of the work. Something absolutely amazing has happened. Every now and again, when you're out doing landscape photography, the conditions just produce something just utterly amazing, and that has happened right now. If I spin around this way, what is happening over at that cliff at the moment is just simply incredible. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, because I'm just gonna have to spin around this way because I want to keep looking at it. It's actually quite emotional. It's just, I'm lost for words a little bit. I always try to encourage photographers to talk about their work, or if we're in the field together, commentate through their thought process, because by verbalizing it, it creates this sort of focus and self-awareness into what's important for you whilst you're composing that frame. That isn't easy though, and does require repeated practice. When I was in the police, being a good talker and a good communicator was absolutely vital. And since doing YouTube, I've had to relearn that again, and I was very wooden when I started out.
Hi, I'm Adam, and welcome to First Man Photography, and welcome to the world of water drop photography.
Take David Beckham as another example, because the way he used to pass the ball and strike the ball was like artwork in itself. He communicated a story on the pitch, and his hard work and work rate was just inspiring. But then when he came off the pitch and was interviewed, he could barely string a sentence together at first. But to his credit, he practiced that, he must have been taught some things and got much better at it. And as he did, his popularity just went through the roof. I'm not saying that you have to be a great talker to be a great photographer, but if we look at some of the most successful photographers through history, they often have been really good talkers. And I'm left wondering how much of their success can be accredited to the fact that they have a great ability to communicate their ideas beyond the photograph alone. So we can tie all these ideas together into a cycle that both keeps the conversation about photography interesting, but also provides a philosophy that we can adopt to become better photographers. So we start at the top with our life, clearly the most important thing, and it's that absolutely is unique to you and lets us create that original work. Next up is, what story do you want to communicate? What narrative do you want to present? Like I said, communication is key to all of this, and we can all find a medium in which we can excel. That then feeds into our photography as we create a visual story to evoke an emotion in the viewer. The beauty of photography is it then drives us to do things. It gets us off the couch to meet new people and to visit new locations and have rich and fulfilling experiences that make us into more interesting people. This then feeds back into our life experience, which then gives us more to talk about, and it goes on and on and on and on. And the beauty of this cycle is that you can pretty much replace photography with any productive activity, and the benefits will be really, really similar and positive. So to try and avoid accusations here that I'm talking complete nonsense, I have created a short film that hopefully encompasses all of the things in this cycle to really try and inspire the nature photographer inside of you. Before I show you that at the end, there are times when we might want to control the conversation, say when we're trying to promote ourselves as photographers. Now, a great place to do that is by building your own website. And our sponsor today, Squarespace, can help you do that. You can put all your images onto a beautiful website using the templates that they provide you. You can customize it to suit your needs and really get yourself out there. You can go to squarespace.com to start your free trial today. And if you then create a website, you like what you've done, you can use the offer code FIRSTMAN to get 10% off your first purchase. Right, let's play the film. I hope this serves to inspire you. I'd love to hear from you at the end down in the comments. And is there anything left to talk about in photography? Infinitely yes. My journey as a photographer is born from a love of the landscape. The story of the natural world mirrors our own, and like a great photograph, finding balance is key. Unearthing this equilibrium requires a rhythmic sense, an almost spiritual process as we aim to coexist with the beauty around us. We shape one another, communicate our story, and set ourselves on a path through life defined by a series of significant moments. There are magical moments that fill us with joy. Good morning and welcome to a beautiful morning here in the Lake District for another day of landscape photography. Moments when things don't quite go according to plan. Oh no, that looks like it could be a dead camera. There are shared moments with family and friends when we build memories together that will last us forever. We stand at a juncture, a moment when it's never been so vital for us to reconnect with nature and let it inspire us to work together towards a global change. Get outside, into nature, explore it and enjoy the adventure. For me, capturing these moments just seems obvious. It's just made it all so worth it. What a fantastic way to start the day. If you've never done this, you really should, because it's a very special moment. Very special. And great photography too.